Wioch beata tronka wasapacha ahitu ahelu hai kola hua yektache nama kola hua yektache nama Waziata tronka wan lutacha ahitu ahelo he kola hua yektache nabacho kola hua yektache namacho Yo yang pata tronka wan richa ahitu ahelo he kola hua yektache namacho kola hua yektache namacho Tokagata tronka wan skacha ahitu ahelo he kola hua yektache namacho kola hua yektache namacho Kata wan bliglishka wan kola ayelo yo hey kola hua yektache namacho kola hua yektache namacho Makata wahi hea wa kola wa yelo yo hey kola hua yektache namacho yo hey kola hua yektache namacho Ayo ayo Hey hey ho we oh hey oh 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 Cha no po yo ya te ai wo wa ne am o we lo wa yang ka yo hey yo hey hey ha we yo hey yo hey hey ha we yo hey yo hey hey ha we yo ta thang ko ya te ai wo wa ne am o we lo wa yang ka yo hey yo hey hey ha we yo hey yo hey hey ha we yo hey yo hey hey ha we yo wa am le yo ya te ai wo wa ne yang o we lo wa yang ka yo hey yo hey hey ha we yo hey yo hey hey ha we yo hey yo hey hey ha we yo hey yo se ai te sa pe la o ya te ai wo venait en voyant caillou hey hey away hey hey away hey away hey no way lo hey no way hey awa kanki hey no way hey hey no say oh hey one hey okay oh chare to pa cha hey one hey okay lo hey no say oh hey one hey okay lo hey no say oh hey one hey okay tra ka wa hey one hey okay lo hey no say oh hey one hey okay lo hey no say oh hey one hey okay hey ka wa hey one hey okay lo hey no say oh hey one hey okay lo mi ka ke wa con ca te pe ta wa mi ka ke wa hai yo mi ka ke wa con ca te pe ta wa mi ka ke wa Ate wa kantra ka krato e to pa wa makaka kantra ka shila. Yui pi wicho kan wicho mani makaka kan zania wicho ni na wicho ni na peto ki ho yuchicha. Wana riata kia makaka ta ku ya china ya hio ta ka pi hechi tronka shila unshi malayo. Wana riata kia leha he piki hawi echi ata ho hiuchicha. Makaka kan skana ta ku ina makaka ka ya kara. Ona tronkan ta ku to wicho kana wicho mani na wicho zani kile na makaka kan wo pila chiche tronka shila unshi malayo. Ayo kale Tahca Ushte mecha ma makaka kan wahio taki na makaka kan uyuchicha. Ayo kanzania ikche chasha wichoni na wichozani makaka kan wo pino kenicha. Wana riata ke ampa wiki chata hawi tukashi la yui wicho kan pio techike. Miglu ya kan le han hepe ki ampeto kosh kala kan we kosh kala ka obo agla kite. Ona hokshila mitraki makaka kan hio taki na makaka kan ta kunchila te ki unshia. Ona wi on ishna tichahio taki na makaka kan ta kunichila. Ona yushki makaka kan wi chach bich aet kat on kash la hitoke. Ona ampo wi chach be. Ona wi chach bito na makaka kan le yakagina makasi tomnia. Kakya kai han le ampeto ke ahio taka na wo no keni ja bit on kash la unshi po. Ampeto el wo pila chiche on kash la unshi mala. Ampeto el yushki wa hio take unshi mala yo ampeto ke le on kash la. Wichonikte na wichozanikte makaka kan wo pila chiche tukashi la unshi malai. Ampeto kile pila maya lo wa kantraka. Unshi makila yo. Unshi malayo. The greatest powers of all things comes from the dark side of the moon. The greatest powers of all things comes from the darkness. For day cannot dwell with the night. Night cannot be with the day, and yet they cannot dwell together. And we are the counter, the forces between day and night, as a human element, that we see day and we see darkness, where other creatures upon the earth cannot see darkness, and yet they see day. For in the total darkness there is no darkness but light, and in total light there is no light but darkness. In the eyes of a blind man, who has lost the pigmentations of his eyes, cannot see and cannot make out the colors. As we are here today, this evening, to talk about the spiritual side, the night side, the dark side, the important side, the strength of all things. Creatures who dwelled in the night, crawling things, creeping things, slithering things, flying things, moving things, are all part of this element called darkness. Darkness is the time for spirits. Darkness is the time for ghost-like creatures that move and creep upon this earth. For they know the eyes of the human cannot see. But yet in the hearts of man, darkness can be seen. And the darkness is not to be afraid, but be thankful that we have both elements. We give thanks today to the South, to the ghosts, to the spirit. These elements are forces in higher intellectual, educational balance of man's life. We do not know spirits that go on to the spirit world. We do not know the ghost of man, and he walks upon this land. Duata kechea manewelo, wana rewa chea mani. Duato kechea mani. Duato kechea manewelo, ne tronkashila kian au elohai. Duato kechea mani. Duato kechea manewelo, ne trokashela opare yuhakiam pelohel. Duato kechea manewelo. Duato kechea manewelo, wana re wachea mani. Duato kechea mani. The ghosts of your grandfathers, they are coming. They are returning in darkness. If you listen closely, you can hear. You can hear your grandfathers crying as they are returning. Listen closely and you will hear your grandfathers flying through the air, trying to give you a message of understanding. Listen close. Your grandfathers are flying through the air, and in their hands they hold the ancient sacraments of time, the ancient objects that man needs to survive upon this land. They are the returning hosts. Listen closely. Listen close. You can hear your grandfathers returning. Listen close. Those are the words to that song that we just sang. My little son has not gone too far in life yet, and he doesn't understand. And I hope that one day he will understand. The way of the Yuipi is different from the way of the sun dancers and the way of the sweat lodge. The way of the Yuipi, for those that do not know, is one of the holiest things upon this earth. To work with the ancient rocks to heal people. And his grandfather was the strongest of all these Yuipi men. And as was my grandfather on both sides of the family, on the mother's side and the father's side. And yet we think so little of ourselves. We take things so for granted. That in a little while, my travels will be no more, but to sit at home and do healing with this ancient Yuipi ceremonies. The traveling will be the end for me and my family. So my children must enjoy while they can their traveling. It is time to complete the circle once more where I originated from, to return to the land of my nativity, the land where I received the special teaching of my grandfathers, and to live the life of a holy man once again. With time, man becomes wise. In traveling, in teaching, and understanding, he learns wisdom. He learns true understandings. And he returns home to teach the young and those that do not understand the way of the Yuipi man. It has been 1 moon, 1 month since I have returned back to the Yuipi.
There are very few of us in the world. This ancient teacher of the spirits and the ghosts, grandfathers of ancestors upon the land where they reside. They are the connections to us, the ancient dwelling places of a remaining host that once lived in those places, wherever they may be. We are not gods, and yet we have a closer connection to the moving things upon the earth. We are closely connected to the water and to the air and to the fire and to all things that was and that is and that will be. Now it is time even for my family to realize who I am. And that realization must be realized by myself, that I am my father. I am my son's grandfather and father together. I am his great-grandfathers, all in one in a different generation. To the present generation I come. Whether my children accept this ways or not, I will leave it behind. I will leave it to those that will understand it and cherish it and respect it. In the ways of our plants, the ways of our trees, and the insects and the fish, the animals. These knowledge that has been passed on from thousands and thousands of years must be left upon this planet, so that man must learn to live and survive. And it takes many years to become wise in the ways of the earth. The new teaching begins. Power that has been handed down from our grandfathers and grandmothers. And it's slowly rising as man slowly searches for knowledge and keys of understanding. But to understand these ancient things and teachings, you must break away from the education, from science and technology and religion, and accept what is on your right hand, the fire, the water, the air, and our mother the earth. For they are the green things of life. In that way, you learn to balance yourself. The left cannot balance with the right, or the right cannot balance with the left. But the right can be like the left, and the left can be like the right. As the good can be bad, and bad can be good. And you, the center, the eye of your physical, the eye of your supernatural, the eye of your mind, must reflect in the four directions, so that your mental powers, your brain waves, must balance themselves equally, so you will understand the ancient teachings. For this was the wisdom of the grandfathers that walked upon this land. It was not the wisdom of education or technologies or religion or science, but it was reality, spirituality, love, humbleness, and self-respect for one another. It simplifies all teachings into one, the spiritual teachings of my mother the earth, the way of the sacred pipe and its teachings. We are starting to go deeper now. Stop. The Yuipi in a distant time was known as Aloampi, and the word reference to during a prayer ceremony for somebody, someone who asked for it, whether it is of disease or finding relations or relatives. Although the Yuipi is connected with the buffalo calf pipe and the sacred teachings of the buffalo calf pipe woman, the Yuipi was brought by a man hundreds of years ago, and it came through the badlands of the place where I live. It came out of the badlands. The man came out of the badlands and returned to the badlands, never to be seen again. It was thousands of years ago, long before the coming of the European man. And what he brought was the ancient rocks of understanding. In each time of creation, the Yuipi ceremony is the only one that is connected to the superiors, to the associate, to the subordinate, and to the inferiors. Tonkashila, Ian are the same in the first phase of creation, which is the rock. The second phase of creation, it is connected with the winged, which is Wakiam, the thunder beings, the clouds, the vitalizers. It is connected to Tob, wisdom, the bear, and the subordinates. In the inferiors, it is connected with the ghost of man, primarily connected because this man, the ghost, does not enter into the spirit world. Therefore, it gives credence to this called the ghost, to enter into the spirit world. Therefore, the ceremonies must be done when the sun goes down. It cannot be done when the sun is still up, or it cannot be no light in the house, and all the windows must be closed shut. All the doors must be closed shut. Every door, everywhere, and everything is inside. And we turn everything inside of the house to positive, where the entire house becomes a positive, and the negatives from the outside tries to come inside. As they make noises and hit on the doors, on the walls, they try to enter. For it is an ultimate understanding that negative and positive must be together to survive. And if positive survives by itself, there will be no meaning to live upon this earth. But if we are to be humans as we are, we must have negative and we must have positive. We must have good, we must have bad. No one is born without one of the two. And this includes the people who sit behind closed doors and pray. For no one is exempt from negative and positive. So long as a human can think, he will be involved with negative. Therefore, full positive cannot be with this man. Even the prophets, the ancient teachers were with negative and positive. For it is to be human is negative and positive. No one is all good or all bad. This is the ultimate understanding of the natural laws that the Great Spirit has put upon this earth. And we, the living, must understand it. How beautiful it would be if all people can feel the movement upon the earth. To lean against a tree and meditate. To sit on a stone and think of the movement below. How beautiful it would be for all mankind to hold a child in their hands, to see life. That is true beauty. How sad it is for those that cannot hold a child, an animal, a moving force in their hand, and to truly understand it. This is the way of the Yuipi, the Aloampi ceremony. Variations to be wrapped in cloth and untied by the spirits, or sit in one spot and do the ceremony, or do the healing without the wrapping of one. Different variations. Different ways to do the ceremony, called the Yuipi. I have seen in my lifetime the power of the Yuipi, of the old men who practiced this for years and years. I have seen the power of the Yuipi, the stone people, the stones that work, who have done things that the human mind cannot comprehend. Many variations. Usually 4 Yuipi men are inside. But when one Yuipi man, he cannot perform the full Yuipi ceremony with a wrapping of one. If there's only one Yuipi man, then he does the Aloampi ceremony to heal people without the wrapping of one and 2 other medicine people participating. For it is impossible to do the full Yuipi ceremony without 4 knowledgeable Yuipi men. One can do it, yet he needs the help of the others, experienced ones. For this ceremony is so strong that the strong must work with the strong. For the spiritual man must work with the other spiritual men to bring full power. Yuipi ways is the ways of my grandfathers, my father and his father before him. I've waited too many years. I walked too many years and pushed aside this ancient ceremony for the last 10 years. Finally, I accept. To accept it is to balance yourself. And you must walk that way the rest of your life. This is the way of the Yuipi. Who is that?
It was a man from Holland. I said to him on the phone at 11 o'clock. Not to disturb you now, but it was speaking with us.
Lambo?
What?
Was speaking French?
Yes, but not very good. Now he speaks better English.
Mm-hmm. After everybody's finished with the sweat lodge, they come in and then they sit around and the altar is made. And everybody's sitting inside like this circle. No one close to each other. And the way the uncles closed the door was they put a steel bar across there and the door locked on the outside. And the door locked and a steel bar so no one can come inside. And remembering to this time There was 4 medicine men inside, old men. The moment it started, you hear an eagle coming flying inside. Flying very low inside the room. You can feel it. The eagle flying. Then you hear a buffalo walking. Then you hear a deer running through the forest. You can hear things outside. And then the dogs are all outside. And you hear the dogs barking long distance. And they're coming closer and closer to the house. And as they get very close to the house, it looks like somebody hit every one of them with a stick. They made a noise and they cried and they ran away, only to bark way in the distance and they come again. They do that all night. Somebody tries to come inside. Then the medicine man who was doing the ceremony, he said, now he's here. He finally got to the door. He's coming in now, and the door opened. There's no door opening, nothing, but you can hear it. The door opens and comes inside. And he talks to the Huipi man. He talks to him alone. And you can hear him talking. I hear him talking. He say, I have come a long distance. So you have need of me, so I came. What is wrong now? The Huipi man says, a sickness has come upon us and she's here with us. He said, I will talk right through her ears to the other side, going here and out the other side. And what she must do. And then, as he says this, the songs begin. And when the song began, the rattle, the drum, and the lights inside, all the lights flying in the air. The lights are flying through the air, the rocks are flying in, coming, different things coming. The dogs are quiet outside like somebody killed all of them. Make no noise. And the voice returns, he stops. The Huipi man stops and he says, Tahca Ushte leyahicha. So you have come with good faith. So we want to thank you. Said, I am here. I have always been here. When you call upon me, I will come. And then, I'm going home now. And the door opens and closes, and then the dogs start barking again. You can hear him walking away in the distance. Then the animals return again. The buffaloes, the deers. This was performed by an old medicine man. And you hear all things inside. He said, turn the light on. And the lights go on. The woman stands up, completely healed of the disease. She believes what she has seen and heard, understood. For someone to be doctored of a disease, they must believe. You cannot be a non-believer and be healed of any disease. You must want to be healed. If you have cancer, you must want to be cured of the cancer. In order to be cured of the cancer, you must believe in this person you have sent for, that that man will cure me. He will, I believe this. 50% right there is open. You open the door, 50%. Many people do not understand this. Doctors, plastic doctors, cannot comprehend it because they are in the world of schools, education, and they cannot comprehend what is spiritual and what is religion. Where is the limitations? There is no limitation in the spiritual. You want to be healed, and you believe, that's 50%. And that spiritual man applies 25%. And sometimes the other 25% comes when a person is healed of the cancer. It disappears, just like it was never there. And then that person, the rest of his life, must walk that way. Understand it. You healed by something you must understand as a thanksgiving to the Creator. For they are the elements of the Great Spirit of whom they call God. It is working with the ultimate elements of nature. Nature in its eloquence, nature in its reverence, nature in its full power. The natural things of nature is strength. There is so much strength in the earth. We will never destroy the earth. It will destroy us first. And the power is there. And we must understand it, we the living. For if I go to a Yuipi ceremony, or ask for a Yuipi man to come, I must understand what I am doing. There was a man, an old man, a few years ago, it was back in the 40s, who did a ceremony. And it was by some German people that were settlers who moved in. And they believed in medicine men. Every day they had a problem. Every night when they went to bed, a snake came into the house. A rattlesnake. So they couldn't get out of bed. Every morning it was gone. And the wife was going crazy. Where did it come in from? They knew it was inside. So the wife finally said, why don't we go to the Indian people? For they understand the earth and the elements. And the man, they went 30 miles to the Yuipi man. No, they went to the agency, to the Rosebud agency. They asked the superintendent of the Bureau of Indian Affairs. He said, yes, there's a medicine man not far, 30 miles from where you live. But even these people, these Lakota people, these white people coming to ask a medicine man to get rid of a rattlesnake, the curiosity arose even in Lakota people. So the room was full of the log house, the big log house was full of Lakota people in the family. And the old man came with his son in a wagon. He went inside, he made his altar. He said, I will turn the lights off 2 times, and I will go home. He turned the lights off and start the ceremony. Wana uelo. In the UEP ceremony, there is no English used. It's all in Lakota language. Wana hielo. It came now. And then the rattlesnake came. He came through the chimney of the stove. The stove was cold, and out of the stove it came, the rattlesnake. And the rattlesnake flew through the air. The Uwipis had him. The Uwipi spirits had him. And the rattlesnake flew above everybody's head. Like this. It was total darkness, so they didn't know which way it was coming. They didn't want to be bitten, so they got lower and lower to the ground. So now they are taking the rattlesnake out. It went right through the chimney of the stove. So turn the light on. And the lights was turned on, and the stove was in 1,000 pieces. All the ashes like this, and the stove pipes were this long. They were stuck together, sitting on the ground, on the floor. And the woman began to cry. She said, that is a family heirloom. We brought it from Germany. The stove. Can the medicine man, or can they fix this stove for me? It belonged to my grandmother from Germany. I'd like to have it back. And the Uipi man said, okay. But they must understand what comes, they know where it comes from. And they must stop it themselves. So they turn the lights off, and he starts praying, Wana upelo, said, they're coming now. They came right through they brought the snake back. They brought the snake, and the snake went around again. And you hear the stove, and it went through the stove and out the chimney. So they went home now. They left. When they turned the lights on, the stove was completely the same again. This is all fixed. But the stove could never be used again. The spirit sealed it shut. Well, you could not take a cutting torch and cut it no more. Everything was sealed like this. The stove became one solid stove. Stovepipes you could never take apart again. The snake was gone, never to return. But the stove left a memory, a connection with the material world can hurt you. And it showed him this. You got your family heirloom, now you can put it in a museum and leave it, for no one will ever use it. So the medicine man said, that's all I can do. He said, by this time it was morning. The sun just came up. They opened all the windows. And him and his son got in a wagon. They left. Him and his son, and while going in a wagon, there's many horses. The farmer, this German owned. And he told his son, I sure like that white horse over there. That's all he said until they went home. Next morning when he woke up, the white horse was tied to the wagon. Somehow that farmer took that white horse and took him over there and gave it to him. Just left him there and went on. Somehow he knew that that's the horse he wanted. And that was the payment. But he didn't say, I want that. He just said, I sure like that white horse. And he went on. Somehow this German man brought the white horse. They couldn't understand how this happened. But this was working of another Yuipi man. Yuipi people, there is a certain power. And that power cannot be misused. It must be kept in a good way. When you are a Yuipi man, if this man says bad things against me, I can never slap him in the face. But I can say he's a nice man. I pray for him. That's the Yuipi man. He's a humble man. You can't. People come against you, say, oh, this guy and that guy. But you know what you are and who you are. This life of a Yuipi man is forever. And is not to abuse. And we can never lose it once you grab it. There is no young Yuipi men today. I think I'm probably the youngest Yuipi man now. Many singers, many imitators. But the true Yuipi man they're hard to find among our people. And when we know who they are, so we understand it among the Lakota people. We know who the Yuipi men are and what they must do. The Yuipi man today controls the way of the sacred pipe. The Yuipi men must and say how they must take care of the buffalo calf pipe. And the buffalo calf pipe works through the Yuipi people. So they are connected. Because of the 7 rituals, the Yuipi is the most mystified of all ceremonies. It's mystified, you hear it, you feel it, you cannot see it, and yet it is done. That is the mystery of this ceremony. It's a mystery of levitation. It's a mystery of using sacred stones to find bodies that have died many years ago. Grandfathers, relatives that have disappeared. Through these stones they are found. So the way of the Yuipis is, among our people we say, when a man accepts this way, Yuipi, there is a certain aura about him. A certain light shines on this man. And it is always a good light, a light of understanding. He sees things others cannot see. He is constantly communication with the spirits. They come to him, they talk to him, they ask for things. They know things. The Yuipi man must be by himself many times. He must be by himself to pray with himself, by himself. He holds meditations by himself. Yuipi man likes to be sitting someplace alone, feeling the natural earth. Yuipi man sits leaning against a tree, enjoying life. The earth moves below, down below, way down. He feels the clouds. As the clouds come, the sun shines. As the sun goes down in the west, he watches it go down. And he prays for all mankind. The Yuipi is the most extraordinary of all the medicine men. He has the love for everybody. And that's where he is different. Other medicine men, many do not work this way. But when the Yuipi man comes, we know. People, my reservation say, you come, bring a pipe, we need your help. Immediately he goes. No matter what he's doing, he puts aside. If man comes, if a Lakota man came over the hill right now, come in the car and stop, brings a pipe, says, you're needed in Canada, I gotta go. Everything else stops, goes somewhere, and comes back again. Those are understandings of mental telepathy, understanding communication far off into different places. He's not a miracle worker. He's just a worker of the Creator. And it's through that element that he works. So I'll come by the Great Spirit. Does she have any questions about the sweat lodge tomorrow?
Est-ce que tu as des questions à poser sur la sweat lodge demain? C'est une oui, ça c'est trop pour ce soir. No, what I want you to ask is
I know that. That's why I'm asking.
With the what you said with the right hand and the left hand.
I don't understand.
Oui, il a porté de la main droite dans la main gauche. Vous savez qu'on avait certaines choses dans la main droite. Non, il a dit que la main droite, on ne peut pas lutter avec la main gauche doit lutter avec la main droite. Et il fallait l'équilibre sur la main. You said something about the left hand and the right hand, of course. The left hand cannot dwell in with the right hand, and the right hand cannot dwell with the left hand.
Mm-hmm.
It's necessary to go in immediately. What is that? Balance. Yes, you said it. The man must go in balance between the left and the right,
Mm-hmm.
the good and the positive and the negative. Oui, c'est ça. I don't know how to ask. Une question sur la situation. Non, mais il faut ça. La pose en français, on va voir ce qu'on peut faire. Pause on the meaning of the structure. Or what I know is when they read.
I think through participation tomorrow you will learn. I want to see your reaction anyway. through just participation. See what your feelings are. See what kind of questions you will ask later about the sweat lodge.
Il a dit que demain tu participeras, c'est la meilleure moyen de comprendre, mais lui il verra bien tes réactions à ce que tu dis, à ce que tu ressens dans la sweat lodge, ce qui se passe. Et je crois qu'à la fin, moi, quand je parlais à mon fils, je dis, elle pourra poser des questions après. Non
Oui, c'est ça. Tu sauras quoi poser comme question.
Voilà, c'est ça, tu sauras quoi poser comme question. Moi, j'ai tapé,
We're using you as a guinea pig tomorrow.
As a what? As a what?
Guinea pig.
What is it? A pig?
Guinea pig.
What is it?
Guinea pig is something they use for experimental.
Oh yes, a cobaye.
See what the reactions will be. From that point, we learn a lot of questions. The questions that others don't ask. From one person who has not completely knows about the sweat lodge and goes inside and participates, but comes from the cold right inside.
I don't know what's
I don't either.
No.
You don't know yourself. You will not know until tomorrow. And that's why we want to know for what kind of questions. For myself, I will leave a sweat lodge behind. And the person who live here will bring other people to come to the sweat lodge. And they will ask the same questions that you will ask, because you're coming in without really understanding it. And see what kind of questions there will be. They might be different from those that have been asked by people who participated many years. There's always new questions. I don't remember the first time I've been in a sweat lodge. I was born inside and raised in it, so I don't know the questions of other people. I can answer them, but I don't know what the questions are, what their feelings are going in the sweat lodge, how hot it's going to be, and just to let you go without, see what happens. It's like going over to Rome and bring a priest and put him inside. See what her reactions will be. What kind of feelings.
I think it's the best way.
Yes, participation, experience is the best teacher. Then we go with the questions. Then we will ask the question. You will ask the questions. And we will answer.
All the questions I can ask now is with my
Yes, just with your head.
You can answer me and I understand only with my
That's
head.
right, that's all. It's a mental questions instead of experience questions. Experimenting with yourself. Going inside the ceremony, there are many things that questions people have asked in the last 40 years or so, different questions. Always new questions. Some questions been answered over and over and over and over in a different way. Because each person is a different person. You will ask a same question that this person asks in a different way. And it has to be answered in a different way. So this person who said it the first time will know something different again. You'll learn something different. For two people are never the same. It's impossible for them to be the same. For we all experience different things. All you have to remember in the sweat lodge is Mitakyo Yasi. All my relations.
Voilà, la seule chose qu'il faut que tu te souviennes en rentrant dans une fête, c'est l'expression suivante, metta koye koyase. Mais on te redira encore. Ça veut dire un tout en famille, justifie en fait.
When it gets too hot, that's what.
I don't know, I never. If it's too hot, yes.
You will say it immediately.
The word to. Sinon de passe, je vais sortir. Sinon je vais pas sortir.
Tu dis pas ça, tu cuis, c'est vrai.
Tu sais pas où est la sortie.
Il faut qu'on te la sorte. Et qu'on peut, il faut voir un barrage considérable. Je les connais.
You will learn how to say it very quick. It gets hot inside.
C'est très chaud.
I know of a friend of mine who's a preacher now, a priest, and not a priest, minister. No. Well, I guess you call him a Protestant minister now. But when he was going to college to be a minister, he was learning about the sweat lodge at the same time. He came, he said, all day long, he's saying, Mitakyo Mitakyo Mitakyo. He trying different tones, Mitakyo. I can't forget this word because it might get too hot for me. All day. We travel with him, did everything all day, and come evening time, it's time to go in the sweat lodge. He's still saying, Mitakyo. Oh, you can't listen to him. And we went in the sweat lodge. It started getting hot. It was 16 rocks coming out. Lava rocks, great big rocks. It was quiet. Then I heard him ask his friend, clear over there, I can hear. How was that word again? Forgot. So I don't know. It's getting hotter and hotter. Pretty soon he says, all my doggies. He said, it was too comical. I said, open the door.
Is it possible to say it in French or in German?
He just completely, the heat turned that mind off to Mitake. He couldn't remember it. And the closest he could think was a dog. I don't know how he associated Mitake Oyase with a dog, but he said, all my doggies. He said, all I could think was relations. He said, I'm not a married man. He said, I have many dogs. So that's all I could think of was my relations, my dogs. So all my dogs, doggies. He went out the door. He went outside. Well, we're going with the second sweat. You coming in? He said, no. He said, I don't have that many relations that I think that much about. He said, the other relations, they can pray for themselves. Sweat lodge is a place or Indian ceremonies, Indian spiritual teaching, is the only teaching that you don't pray for yourself. You never pray for yourself. You pray for others. You never for yourself. That's when you pray for yourself, you build an ego. Me this, me that. I did this, I did that. I will do this, I will do that. They're praying for someone else, praying for others. Many people say, well, when am I going to pray for myself? I said, well, who's doing the praying? I said, I am. So you're doing the praying for others. He said, your mind is here close. Your God is here and your religion is here, and that's it. That's all you understand. But the spirituality is beyond religion. Religion is just here in the mind. That's all. And it's in the Bible. Nothing beyond that. The brains cannot go beyond religion. It's stuck. It's like a car going zoo, 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 can't go. The engine cannot start. Once it begins, then the spiritual things, you learn to pray yourself. You learn you are the person who is praying. Therefore, blessings from the Creator comes to you. That is an understanding. I think it's an understanding by all people. That a person who prays for others gets the reward. The reward from God gives you the blessings. Yes. You are praying for this person, therefore I will give you the blessings. So the person who is praying receives the blessings. But man does not understand this. Well, when am I going to pray for myself? Well, if you want to be that way, go ahead and pray for yourself. Go on, go away. Go in the mountain somewhere and pray for yourself. So you go to the mountain, you go up to, oh God, have mercy on me, please. Give me a Cadillac, give me a Mercedes Benz, give me a good car, give me a television, give me this. And the lightning hits you in the head and kills you right there. There lays gimme. He died because he said, give me. It's a very deep, deep understanding.
But it's very difficult to live that way. Yes, life, live. I think.
It's easy to live that way. It's beautiful to live that way. It's beautiful to pray for others than for yourself. Only in the religion of the Eastern philosophy teaches you to pray for yourself. From the Eastern philosophy comes the religion of Christianity. It did not come from us. This Eastern philosophy has nothing to do with our people. For we look at our teachings as the only teaching in the world that comes from a woman. The only one. There is no other that comes from a woman. The entire teaching from the woman. There is no teachings this way. All teachings always comes from a man. Man always dominated. I question many things. I questioned why prophets, their so-called prophets, never get married. What is their problem? I question these things because we are creations of the Creator. God created man and woman to multiply upon this earth. Why does this man have to go over here and stay over there? Is he a homosexual? He doesn't like women? Or maybe there's something wrong with him that the women don't like. Maybe he's a chauvinist. There's a problem, something gone wrong here. And the woman the same. Why must a woman stay inside of a house 24 hours a day praying? I am the wife of Jesus, or something like this. Jesus is a prophet hundreds of years ago. He died and he's gone. As the prophets have come, prophets will come, prophets will die, prophets will leave. Man will still be here. So we must understand. We must learn to pray. John, please don't be doing that. Sit on the floor and squeak all night. Go to bed, one. One of the things is about this sweat lodge, or the Indian teaching, is different from others. There is none. You cannot compare Indian teaching with the lamas, Tibetan lamas. You cannot compare it with the Shinto or the Muslim or Hindus or Sikhs. Impossible. You cannot do it. You cannot compare our ways to them. Ours is completely different. That is why it is so different, unique. Even religions, even the Catholics today are coming to our people trying to join the Indian spiritual teaching. They want to pierce at the Sundance. They want to lead the sweat lodges. The Catholic priests. They cannot beat us, so they want to join us. And we tell them, we say, what about your bishop? He'll get angry at you. Or never mind the bishop, He gets angry, that's okay. So there are people who are looking, searching. Zen Buddhists are coming to our people. Teach us the way of the earth, plants, the spiritual understanding of balance. Our teaching is almost closing now in Europe. I would say this year and next year. And that'll be it. And for those that will benefit, those that have benefited, will never see it again if they don't search again. For all of it will go to the original position, go home. And our spiritual teachings will be there, not over here anymore. It's closing now because it is time to close. For us to travel. We don't have to continue on and on and on. And we bring it. If the people accept it, it's beautiful. Accept it. Look for it. Look inside. Search it. If it's good for you, try it. If you want to learn more, you'll come where we live. There will be many people who will come. There are many, many people who are very sincere in searching. They're looking, they're finding it. They will come, they will return over here. And they will be speaking your language. And they will talk to you in your language, and you will understand them. For at this time, they will be speaking my language. They will speak the Lakota language, and they will learn from me, and they will come back. For I cannot teach both things at the same time, which is not right. The day I make this mistake of teaching spirituality and the language at the same time, I will fall. I cannot teach both. But I can teach you Indian spiritual teachings 100%. Then go home and stay. And you will come and you will learn the language. And you learn the language, and you already have the spiritual, and you will return. And you will return here, and there are others that will listen. And at this time, the world will be in such off balance in this area that people will be searching in all different directions. Which way must we go? It is something that I see this already in front of us. Something very dangerous, I would say. It is starting to rise. We will search, we will find. And we don't have the answers. We all have to look within ourselves. I respect all religions. I respect Catholics and the Protestants, all these. For they came at a time when they were needed. But it's not needed anymore. It's not necessary for us to send a man to school because he wants to be a Catholic priest. It must be in here, deep inside. That once he excels in the university of religion and learns about religion, he must understand